I am back on Hollywood Beach. I finally got the boosted antenna. So it says I'm supposed to get 300% longer range. So what I'm going to do is I'm back in Hollywood Beach and I am going to the exact same spot where I launched the other day to get the drone going, see if I'm able to get any more distance. Everything is charged up. The drone batteries are charged up, the antenna is charged up, the controller is charged up. So I have 100% on everything, and I'm hoping to get some serious distance. I guess we shall see. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get launched up. Beautiful sunny day on Fort Lauderdale Beach. Want to make sure I get up over these trees first. Then heading over to the water. I'm going to, just a little side note here, when you're recording on the smart controller, when you're doing a screen record, it shows the record basically at the bottom, and it covers up your distance and your altitude. So it's really hard for me to tell that I wasn't at 150 feet, like kind of right away. So right now I'm just making sure I'm over the shoreline. Then I'm going to head north and start flying. So I realized I wasn't at 150 feet, finally got at 150, and am flying north. It's a gorgeous day, man. Look at those clouds in the water. It's perfect. And this time I made sure that I had full battery, so I shouldn't have any issues on this flight. Doing a little fluctuating between 150 and 149, but it's all right. And as you can see, I'm getting close to 3,000 feet, no issues. I'm using my brand new antenna, passing Margaritaville right now on your left-hand side. And as you see, I get that notification that I need to be within sight of my drone. So I get that notification. It pauses for a second to make sure that you know, hey, I'm serious. But I need to remove that notification off the screen. Getting close to 5,000 feet away, which I believe that was about the distance that I had with the regular antennas before I lost signal, like we just did right there. So that was very interesting to me. I kind of got upset for a second. Then I had to take a couple seconds to think, and I realized that I am sitting down facing east, but the drone is going north. So it made me realize that maybe the antennas, the power antennas, are more directional than I thought they would be. So I turned my body to face north pretty much around this time, and decided to fly on because I figured that was the problem. So I turned my body facing north, and I was able to get another few thousand feet. You can see it's a couple little dropouts, but nothing crazy, until we get closer to the 8,000, which is also going to be the end of our boardwalk, which is that orangish building, that tan orange building on the left-hand side there. As you can see, I'm reaching close to 8,000 feet, almost to the end of the boardwalk. Now we're past 8,000 feet. And pretty much when we pass this building, that ends the boardwalk on Hollywood Beach. And we're going strong at 150 feet. We're at 9,000 now, so can definitely see an improvement on the signal from the regular antennas to my boosted power antenna. So right about 9,700 feet, 9,800 feet is when I start losing signal pretty much consistently. So that is where we'll say the distance will be, at least on Hollywood Beach. So as you see, I'm backing up. So we got to about 9,800 feet. And that's when we started 9,700 feet. And now we're getting some clear signal. I believe when I turn, I lose it for a second. They say I'm getting interference right there. That's the bridge at Sheridan and A1A. So yeah, good solid 9,700 feet at 100, a solid 9,700 feet from launch at 150 foot height. The other part that I'll note is on my prior test, I was getting a headwind going north and then was flying into the wind going south. With this particular day, it was pretty even. It was about 31 miles per hour north as well as 31 miles per hour going south. So that means I really wasn't getting any too much wind. And I'm not changing my altitude, I'm just changing the direction of the gimbal. So I'll be doing that here throughout this flight as well as the other flight, because it was such a long flight. I was able to play a little bit. So right now I'm just, as you can see, I'm negative 21 degrees as far as the gimbal, just to change the orientation and kind of enjoy the flight a little bit more, since I'm just basically straight lining back. You can see Margaritaville, one of the larger buildings in the distance there, the white and powder blue building. And man, you can see all the way down. Looks like, I wouldn't say that's South Beach because that would be pretty far, but you can see those buildings in the distance. That's definitely got to be, Aventura area. Easily. And there's the Flow Rider on the right hand side there at Margaritaville. Just passed out of frame now. And I didn't notice this when I was actually flying, but it looks like they have some type of volleyball tournament set up. You can see it's framed out there with the volleyball net. I didn't notice that before. Normally you just have regular volleyball nets just kind of hanging out there, but this one they framed in to create privacy, or to have it for some type of audience to come inside. I'm not sure. And we still have another 2,500 feet before we get back to launch. I believe that building that we're passing right there is the Hollywood Beach Resort. So far, I will say that I am pleased with the distance that I've gotten from my boosted antenna. It's called alientech, I guess, is the brand. I'm not sure. It's the one made specifically for the smart controller, or at least the adapter on it's made for the smart controller. And we're getting close to launch, so we'll go ahead and face west. I think I overflew a little bit. And There we go. Now we're facing west. Now we'll go ahead and land the drone. There was no rhyme or reason for me turning around other than so you don't see me. That's pretty much it. Actually, that's not true. I turned it around because it helps me when I'm flying, because my orientation is facing the same as the drone. So as I'm landing, if the drone was the opposite way, when I go left, actually the drone would go right. So this just helps me when I'm landing, that's all. So pretty successful thus far with altitude of 150 feet. Now we're going to get this drone up at 300 feet. So we follow the same path, get it up over the trees, get it to the shoreline. I'm going to pan my gimbal down. Then we're going to face north, head over to the actual shoreline. So get over a little bit to the left. There we go. Now we'll go ahead and get up to height. Bang, now we're down to 300. Go ahead and orientate. We'll get the orientation of the drone gimbal facing forward. And start heading north. You can see we're at 91% on battery. And look at that view. It's crazy. If you see at the top left, those buildings at the top left hand of the screen, past all that greenery and some of the water that's sprinkled throughout there, that's downtown Fort Lauderdale. That's crazy that we're able to see this far. And I know it does look blown out. This is definitely not a test on the clarity of the camera or the usage of any filters, even though I do have my ND filter on there. I believe it's ND9. I probably could have done an ND 11 or 12, but I just kept it on the 9 just because I'm trying to do a distance test and not a clarity test. So we're about 4,000 feet from launch, and you can see right at that 4,000 foot mark every single time it tells you that you need to make sure your line of sight. So I said yes and continue flying. Now I'm just trying a little bit of camera work here. Basically with the smart controller, if you push down on the screen and move it left or right, then you're able to move the gimbal. And so that's basically what I'm doing right here. I'm just moving the gimbal as I'm flying north. As you can see, I'm still heading in the same direction. It's just that the camera was facing a different way. So I'm just trying some different things, that's all. Like I said, this is a very long flight, so I can do some things that I normally wouldn't do when I'm flying. And as you can see, we're already at 6,500 feet from launch. And my speed is 31 miles per hour. And we're almost to the end of the boardwalk already. You can see the bridge on the left-hand side. That bridge is up at Sheridan. They're doing some construction or something over there, so it's going to stay up pretty much the entire month. But as you see, we're flying back and forth, and that bridge is remaining. Now it just went out of frame. There is that tan and orange building I mentioned before, and I just want to check it out and see exactly what that is. So I'm probably going to pinch it over a little bit more. And one trick that I've figured out, if you're not sure if the gimbal is straight, there's a button on the smart controller, at least my trigger on the bottom left. You push that, it aims the gimbal straight down. You push it again, it aims the gimbal straight forward, so you can always get it right back to where it's normally set. So I'm approaching a no-fly zone. The return home may activate. And I just hit no, because I want to see how far I can go. I'm already at 10,600 feet from launch. If you can see at the top, just below my shutter notification, that's Dania Pier. I didn't realize I was going to get that close to Dania Pier. That was a nice surprise. I also didn't realize that there were these other buildings over here that I'm zooming in on right now. I don't think I've ever seen those as I've driven up and down this area. I knew about the small buildings, but that huge apartment, never knew it existed. And I did zoom in. A couple reasons for that. First is because I wanted to see that building. The second one is I wanted to close that iris a little bit so it wasn't as blown out. I know there's nothing I can do now in the middle of this flight because my ISO is already completely taken care of. So the only thing I can do is zoom in, and that will make it, like I said, close that iris, make it a little darker. So as you see, I'm at about 15,000 feet, and I'm getting a notification that I need to return home. I think I went to about 16,000, which is double what I did at my other flight, my initial flight with the original antennas. So I wanted to see these buildings. So I said, you know what? I'm going to see these buildings. I think I'll be okay. I've flown this drone quite a bit, and then also, boom, as you see, around 15.5, I lost signal, so I'm backing it up. Just always cancel that return home when I'm flying out, so that way I can control it, because if I do the return home, what'll end up happening is, first thing it does is it goes, increases its elevation, and then it starts returning home. So I want to keep it at the same elevation. So I'm just backing it up until I get back into range, because it's losing the signal to be able to transmit the video, but I didn't lose enough signal for me not to be able to control the drone. So as you can see, I'm going to get these warnings like, hey, you need to return home. So I am going fast back to my launch point. And it does take some considerable time to actually return home. I believe it's going to be about 7 or 8 minutes before I actually return home. And this is pretty much straight, a straight shot. And as I think this is right here, yeah, right here you'll see it's actually being covered by my zoom. You can see just to the left of there, that is the extended part of the boardwalk. It's not actually the boardwalk, it's a lot of areas where they do like barbecuing and things like that, so you'll see that on the left hand side, but it's more asphalt. It's not the brick and cobblestone that they have on the boardwalk. And there's my notification again, and I'm just like, hey, I'm flying, so my return home isn't going to do anything different than what I'm doing now. So I'm just canceling the return home feature and just flying south. And that tan and orange building on the right, that is our beginning of the boardwalk. And like I said, it's just a straight shot back. But I'm making pretty good distance. I was at what was it, 15,000 feet from launch. Now I'm at about 8,000, almost 9,000 feet from launch. So I'm making pretty good distance. I'm not worried about running out of battery just because I've been through this, so I already know. And my notification one more time of Margaritaville being on your right hand side. And any of my drone pilots out there, if you can answer the question for me, because I don't know. You see how the map goes from green to blue? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that indicator means. I tried to research it a little bit and I didn't find anything. So anybody that knows why the map just turns from green to blue for no apparent reason, because I'm not doing anything different. I'm flying over a straight line. So yeah, any information would be helpful, just because I don't know if it's trying to tell me something important. Yeah, and down there at that volleyball area, it's got to be a tournament or something. I don't know, because it looks really official down there, and it's normally not set up like that. About 3,300 feet left. That should take me, I don't know what, a couple minutes to get back. Probably less than a couple minutes, actually. Yeah, so like I said, I wasn't worried at all as far as the battery running out on my way back. I wasn't worried at all, because like I said, I've been there and done that, so I know exactly, well, not exactly, but I have a good idea when it was going to run out. And when I think was it 70 or 60 some percent, I knew that I could get back, especially with I'm not flying into the wind. So we're good to go there. I probably could have stayed out further, longer, but also the signal went out right at that 15,500 foot mark. So there was really nothing for me no reason for me to try and go forward. All right, so almost at launch area now, just landing lower and see the beautiful shoreline on Hollywood Beach. Pretty much. There you go. Now that is what I call a test with the new antenna. With the range extension on it, I was able to go 150 feet high and get about 9,000 before I lost signal. But when I went up to about 300 feet, I got about 16,000 feet away from launch. So far away that I was actually worried about running out of battery before running out of range. So that is definitely worth it for me as far as the purchase goes, because I am able to go basically whatever distance I want. So 100% worth the purchase. This is going to be the end of the video. I'm going to put some other links on each side of my face. Check those out. Hit that like button, subscribe, do all that good stuff. I appreciate you rocking with me one more time, and I will see you on the next one.